I want to tell you the easiest way to tell if someone is mediocre at fantasy football. This may be a controversial take. Keep in mind, I'm a guy who's been uncommonly successful in fantasy football. I've been playing over 20 years and win about 40 to 50% of the leagues I'm in. Honestly, a little bit higher recently. And only in my first probably 2 or 3 years of playing fantasy football did I actually draft a kicker. Yes, this is my advice for today. Don't draft kickers. Usually when someone drafts a kicker, it's because they don't know the players further down the board. They're just sort of desperate. They haven't heard of the guys. But there are still going to be guys who are going to be highly relevant at the time when people start picking kickers. Instead of getting a kicker, draft some guy with high upside. Draft a guy who's one injury away from being highly fantasy relevant. I don't care if that's a Will Shipley backup on Philadelphia Eagles or who it is, but there's a lot that can happen in the preseason and the practices leading up to the start of the season, and I'd rather hedge my bets with them than have to have a whole roster spot taken up by some kicker. Now, there are a couple exceptions. If you're in a very deep league, 14 to 16 teams, it can make sense to get a solid kicker, but still, I would do it after the draft. There's going to be someone in the comment section who has some anecdote about some kicker that they drafted that did really well for them in their fantasy league, and I'm here to tell you it was total blind luck. Every year, by streaming kickers, I usually outperform anyone who keeps a steady kicker the whole entire season. The only week that matters when you're drafting or trying to pick up a kicker before week 1 is that first week. How do I stream kickers? Well, it depends on a lot of factors, but primarily, you just want to have a kicker that's going to be in a winning game script. This means I look at Vegas odds and my AI projections and some other models to see which kicker is the most likely to get solid field goal attempts. There's nothing more annoying in fantasy football than being down by a couple points and needing a field goal from your kicker, but the team is trailing so much that they don't even think about kicking a field goal. They just need touchdowns because they're down by 2 or 3 touchdowns at that point. If you're curious about some of my unorthodox projections and rankings, I have all that for available. It's coming, I think, tomorrow on fansports.com. That's my website. Check it out. Let me know what you think. I'll send you some goods. I'll send you the ChatGPT threads I'm using to prepare for the season. And again, the rankings are really close to being finished, guys. So thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.